The Republic of Korea says it will push for new UN sanctions to completely isolate Pyongyang. The DPRK says its latest nuclear test involved a hydrogen bomb. It took place at a Punggye underground test site. People across the border in China felt the tremor, which had a magnitude of 6.3. This is the DPRK's sixth and largest nuclear test. But there's uncertainty if the device was a hydrogen bomb. CGTN's Jack Barton has more from Seoul.
Well, they certainly weren't prepared for the magnitude of this blast. The size of it caught everyone by surprise. As you mentioned, it's not yet confirmed whether this was a hydrogen bomb. That's what the DPRK is stating it was. If it was a hydrogen bomb, it was a very small one, certainly at the lower end of the spectrum of what you would expect from a hydrogen bomb. It could be a conventional nuclear bomb, but a very large one. But either way, as you mentioned, this was much larger than anything tested by the DPRK before. South Korean officials saying potentially 5 to 6 times larger. It could be up to 150 kilotons. To put that in perspective, the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima at the end of the Second World War was around 15 kilotons. So this is a very big weapon.
There's our correspondent Jack Barton in Seoul. Already a flurry of international reaction to the DPRK's nuclear test, CGTN's Toby Muse reports.
Mr. President, will you attack North Korea?
The US reacted angrily to the DPRK's largest nuclear test, threatening tougher sanctions and warning that any threat will be met with a massive response. US President Donald Trump met with his top national security advisors at the White House Sunday afternoon.
We have many military options, and the president wanted to be briefed on each one of them. We are not looking to the total annihilation of a country.
Earlier, President Trump lashed out at other countries on Twitter. Of US ally Republic of Korea, Trump said, their talk of appeasement with North Korea will not work. He also tweeted that DPRK had become an embarrassment to China, which is trying to help, but with little success. In a television interview Sunday with Fox News, Trump's Treasury Secretary suggested tougher sanctions could be on the way, potentially targeting those who trade with the DPRK.
We've already started with sanctions against North Korea, but I am going to draft a sanctions package to send to the president for his strong consideration that anybody that wants to do trade or business with them would be prevented from doing trade or business with us.
How likely is that? It's unclear, but with China, the DPRK's principal trade partner, it certainly would not bode well for US-China trade ties. Beyond the US, other countries sought to present a united front, condemning the test.
Together with the international community, including the United States, the ROK, China, and Russia, Japan will take determined actions against the DPRK.
China's President Xi Jinping met with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the BRICS gathering, both pledging to appropriately deal with this latest test. Separately, China's foreign ministry released a statement saying, "We will work unwaveringly to denuclearize the Korean peninsula and unswervingly maintain peace and stability there." The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres added to the international chorus, condemning the nuclear test, calling it yet another serious breach of the country's international obligations.
All this will be under discussion Monday morning in New York City as members of the UN Security Council meet in emergency session to discuss the DPRK. Toby Muse, CGTN, Washington.